Hello, good morning, and welcome back to the Football Terrace. Thank you very much for tuning in. As always, hit that like button, ladies and gentlemen. It's very important. And leave your comments below. I know we like the live chat, but I really want your live comments below. A little bit of posterity so we can see what you're all thinking and feeling. I know we get thousands of you commenting during the live stream, but I'd love you to go and place your comments in the comments section below as well. Stories this morning. And listen, you're going to get my opinions on these, but a lot of newspapers linking Man United to an imminent confirmed move for Upamecano. We know that man like Jan Fjørtoft has said that it's highly likely or almost imminent that he will be leaving RB Leipzig at the end of this season. People put 2 and 2 together and say Manchester United. We're going to delve into that in a little bit more detail for you this morning. We're also going to talk about Anthony Martial, who seems to be a lot of rumors that he is going to be dropped from the Manchester United squad not squad, but from the first team today to play in the Champions League. And of course, speaking of the Champions League, welcome back to England and welcome back to Old Trafford I'm actually really excited to see him tonight and again play at Old Trafford again. And it's Rafael da Silva. I almost feel like he's a cult hero. I really, really do. By the way, good morning, Paul B. Good morning, Pav. Good morning to Jay. Good morning to Chad. A lot of our members are already in the comment section here. Man like Mo, good morning to you as well, who is out there. Hope you're all doing good. We're going to open the Skype lines pretty soon for you guys to call in and have your say as well. Of course, we want to hear from you. If you want to put your face on screen as well, we have video Skype calls now available through these streams for you to come on and show your face if you want to come on this morning. Terry the Don, thank you. Ray S here says, hope Van der Beek gets a start. So do I. I hope Van der Beek gets a start tonight as well. I really, really do. I'm just going to change one little thing. Just going to brighten that light a little bit. That's a bit better. That's a little bit better here this morning. I was trying to get myself as comfortable as possible, to be honest. It's a little bit uncomfortable, but there we go. We crack on. We persevere. Terry, be with me, please. What do you mean by be with you? Like I'm not on the market for like any relationships or anything, bro. But we can chat. That's all good. Terry, is it confirmed for sure? That's why we put a question mark there, for being honest. I mean, let's talk about Upamecano now. I like this guy. I think he's a very raw, talented. What is he? 22 years of age. He's very, very talented. I think he's got a big career ahead of him. I do think, though, that Man United are being used here by the mainstream media. They're being used here him being linked to Liverpool is pretty big, and I think that's where he could end up going. I actually think it's a dot on the cards that he's going to go to Bayern Munich. So my sort of view on this is very simple to Man United fans. Don't get your hopes up. It's very unlikely that he is going to be a Manchester United player, in my opinion. Exceedingly unlikely. Exceedingly unlikely that he will be a Manchester United player. But, of course, link him to Man United. It would generate more views. You get more clicks. That's just how it works. We know this. We know that's how these things work. It can't be denied. It's been this way for a long time now. There's no doubt. Man like Reg here, Mr. Reddy says, Terry, I think Alaba from Bayern Munich is a better option at left-footed centre-back and right-back. Of course, with Upamecano, you get age, don't you? I think that's the draw for a lot of people with him. You get age. You get someone who's young. You get somebody who's fresh. You get somebody who is here for the long haul, if that makes sense. And people like that. People want that. Alaba is better than him right now. There's no doubt about it. We saw what Rashford did to him in the Champions League alone. There's always going to be rawness with 22. Any defender, no matter how good they are at passing or how good they are at going forward from a flank, all young defenders will have rough patches up until they're about 24, 25 defensively. And even after that, it happens. But it's very much forgivable at a younger age because it's normal. I say it to a lot of people all the time. It's exceedingly normal for this to happen. It shouldn't be a strange thing to anyone. It shouldn't be a strange thing to anyone. It shouldn't be at all. Jay here in the comments says, is Upamecano right-footed? If yes, I don't know if he is. I swear he's left-footed. I want to say he's left-footed. Maybe I should know. I don't know. I swear he's right-footed though, left-footed though, and plays on the left-hand side. Terry, please say my name. That is Stallion. Listen, I want you to do a little thing for me on this stream right now. I know you're in the live comment section, but go into the actual comment section below. Do two things for me this morning. One, tell me whether you think yes or no, whether Upamecano will end up being at Manchester United. Go into the comment section right now and do that for me, right? Yes or no. And after that, let me know where you're watching from, please. Let me know what part of the world you're watching us from this morning, whether you're indeed watching live right now or the playback. Go into the actual permanent comment section below and let us know. It's something we really want to do. And we've got the competition starting very, very soon. And part of the competitions will be a referral element in relation to the newsletter. You can see the information there for the newsletter. Go into the link in the description below and sign up right now. But we're going to be picking winners from people leaving comments, and it's going to be comments of our choice. So this morning, either yes or no to whether Upamecano is going to stay, join Manchester United, but leave us the country of which you are watching in, because some of our prizes, like the webcams and the cameras and the microphones we're giving away, we're going to send them regionally. So we need to know, we need to get them ordered from Amazon in that part of the world, as an example. So go and get that done now. I know a lot of you are putting it in the live chat, not the live chat. Go into the comment section below and leave the comment there. Otherwise, we won't see it because the live chat doesn't save afterwards. So we need to know this for you to enter these competitions, because I'm sure you want to. Pav, come on, bro. You know the score. If you want to phone the show this morning, please feel free to. The Skype lines are open. You can give us a little bit of a buzz and a tinkle right now if you want to come on. We're looking forward to hearing from you. Sorry, I got itchy head. Got to move the hat. Check out my mate's brand, by the way, Style13. Just type Style13 on Instagram. I follow them. Go check that out. First up on the show, we're going to have man like Pav. Welcome to the show, Pav. What you saying, bro? How you doing, bro?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Perfect.
Yeah. So obviously you're talking about Upamecano, and you had a little chat there about Martial. I want to pick up on Martial first. I honestly believe it's time for him to probably look for another club. I don't think he's turned out to be what I was expecting him to be when he first joined us. Obviously, he was still young then,
right?
And he has improved a little bit as the season's gone, but I still don't think he's the sort of striker that we need. Because if you look in the past, like some of the strikers we've had, like your Terraces, Berbatovs, Andy Cole, Dwight York, he's nowhere near. He's never going to be near any of them. What they done for us at this club. I think we need a proper striker. I don't think he's a natural striker. I think he's more of like I don't know what you say, like a left forward. And what we're lacking is like that proper striker. Like we've said it for ages, someone like Harry Kane. But I think for Martial, it might be time for him to go. I can understand why Jose Mourinho wanted to sell him, because he wants a proper natural number 9 striker. And I think that's what we're lacking. Obviously, we brought Cavani in, but I don't even think he's going to get game time, because I still think Ollie's going to use Martial more. But that's just my opinion on it. I don't like. Obviously, I'm not a person who's just like wants to get rid of players, but I just want to see something different, because he's been here for so many years. But I don't believe he's ever going to get to that height of scoring like 25 plus goals in the Premier League over a season. I don't think he's ever going to do that for us. And obviously, on Upamecano, I would love it if he come join us, but I think there's going to be a lot of clubs in the summer looking at him. You look at Real Madrid, Sergio Ramos, I believe, is out of contract in the summer. They'll be looking at someone like him. Bayern Munich needs a centre back. There's a lot of centre backs across Europe who are aging now, coming to the end of their career.
Yeah.
And people like Upamecano, like clubs would want him. So,
yeah, listen, I understand that about Upamecano. Look, what you've said about Anthony Martial, I mean, when you say leave, I mean, is there not a place for it? Let's just say look, there are better number 9s out there than him. Like Haaland is an example of a better number
That would
9
be
than
my
him.
choice. I
Yeah,
love
and I get that, and I like Haaland as well. But do you not think there's still a place?
Yeah, I believe he could still be in the squad, but I'm looking at it as how old is he? Like 20? He's still got to be under 25, right, or something like that. I see it as that he probably wants to play. He doesn't want to be a bench player. He wants to play every game. So that's why I'm kind of thinking like it's probably best for him to go rather than him sitting on the bench. And if we did bring in someone like a Haaland or something, he would produce more. He would have a better goals to game ratio, stuff like that. So I don't believe that Martial would want to stay and sit on the bench. That's why I think it might be better for him to go and maybe try something else in his career, because I don't think he's, like I said, I don't think he's going to hit them heights of the previous strikers we've had playing for this club. I just don't. I think he's been there long enough. He's a very good technical player. He has a lot of ability, but I think he's in the wrong league for it.
Well, listen, Pav, as had he say there on Anthony Martial. Pav, thank you very much for calling the show this morning, my friend. Thank you very, very much indeed. Lots of other people calling in. Do you agree? You take your calls on Upamecano. We'll take your calls on tonight's game. But Anthony Martial, is he good enough for Manchester United? Pav thinks we should look to move him on. Next up on the show, we have Man Like Nelson. You can call in with your videos on Skype now if you would like to. But Nelson's with us now. Nelson, what are you saying, mate?
Yeah, I want to talk about this Bruno Fernandes age. Actually, is getting me I'm getting crazy about the whole stuff because it's going too wild now. People are becoming so stupid, like talking about Bruno Fernandes and I don't know why, but I understand why. I see the reason why they're doing it, because Bruno Fernandes is the one keeping Ole Gunnar Solskjaer on the job right now. If Bruno Fernandes wasn't performing the way he has been performing since he came, we won't, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer would have been fired. So I can see the reason why people that want Ole Gunnar Solskjaer out hate Bruno Fernandes. It's just like if he doesn't play well, then Ole goes, right? But now let's.
I think honestly, I'll just say this to you. I think you've just hit the nail on the head. I didn't think about it from that point of view at all. Legitimately, I have not thought about it from that angle. And you are absolutely, categorically correct. Just one sec. So, one second.
Before I go.
So, no, do me a favor again. Just repeat for anyone who missed it what you've just said.
It's clear the people that hate Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, the people that hate Bruno Fernandes right now, they are the same people that want Ole Gunnar Solskjaer to be fired.
Yeah, and you think that them trying to play down their attack at Bruno is because they know that his performances are keeping Ole here, so he's almost kind of a big part of the problem, because if Bruno wasn't performing, if Bruno wasn't seen as such a brilliant signing and player, it would make it a lot easier and quicker to get rid of Ole.
Exactly, and you can trace it also. All the signings that have been good for Ole, they've downed them. They've made them look like shit. Even when they're playing well, those same fans, they've downed all of them, including Maguire, Wan-Bissaka, all of them. Even the players that were doing good before, they've destroyed them. Football is playing between in the brain. If your brain is not right, you can play football. That's why Martial is missing chances that he normally scores before, because his mind right now is not in the right place. He's playing very poorly right now because of that. And that is what they're psychologically attacking our players so that they can play badly and they can get their what they want.
I have to say, I think you're right. I've been racking my brains for weeks, legitimately racking my brains for weeks, sitting here thinking to myself, I don't understand. I get some people that they're massive Pogba fans and they're unhappy that Paul Pogba doesn't get as much love as Bruno Fernandes. And I feel the same as them in that way. But it doesn't make me dislike Bruno. It isn't Bruno Fernandes' fault. But I think what you've just said is the nail on the head. It's arguably the best point I mean this, Nelson. I think you've just made the best point in the history of the football terrace. I mean that sincerely. It's absolutely spot on.
But don't get it wrong. Also, of course, they're using one stone to kill two birds. They also want Pogba to be the best player in the team. They want Pogba to be the guy that everybody looks up to. But it's not working out for Pogba in Manchester United, and it's very understandable why Pogba plays well for France and why he played well in Italy and he doesn't play well in England. At least not in enough games to call himself a great player. It's understandable. I don't understand why people just want to kill themselves on the Pogba's bridge. It won't work out. It's not like I hate him. He's a good player. He has skills. He has the ability. But the English game is fast. And if you look at international football, what we know about international football, they are very slow. It is very, very slow. You hardly see an international game played at the same pace as you see the Premier League played, because the players, they don't play too much together. So they have to look for a pass before they give the pass. But in the Premier League, they don't look for the pass. They just give it because they know where their players are supposed to be. And in Italian game, there's enough space for Pogba to do his thing. But in the Premier League, he can't do it. It's not every week that he will be given that license to do that kind of stuff. Sometimes some manager will just put a player on him, and that's over. Pogba can't do anything anymore. They just crowd him. And it is not about Pogba being a bad player or a good player. It's just something he has to understand. Like, okay, I'm not being given space to do what I need to do. Let me just simplify my game and move the ball, keep the ball rolling until they give me the space I need, at least for the first 20 or 30 minutes. Then I have space, then I can continue doing my stuff. But Pogba, no, he wants to always prove himself.
And that's Nelson, I completely get where you are coming from. I really appreciate your call. Thank you very much for coming on. Everyone else who's watching live right now, call up. I want your thoughts on that. Is Bruno Fernandes is the witch hunt for Bruno Fernandes a kind of means to an end for the Ollie out brigade to push him forward? And when you sit there and think about it, the likes of Rashford and the likes of Martial have had their best seasons in their United careers under Ollie, and very little of that gets attributed to Ollie, his coaching, his development of these individuals. A lot of people love Mason Greenwood, and these people never want to thank and say anything positive about Ollie towards him. I saw in the press conference on the other day, I want to say it was on the Friday, I don't know, he said something along the lines of, Ollie said something along the lines of, if we had the crowd here, we probably would have won some more games at home. Well, in fact, I mean, he's speaking facts. The never after 9 games each in a Premier League season had there been in a. So I read this came out the other day. This is a legitimate madness when I read this. Never in top flight English football history, after the first 9 games played, has there been more away wins than home wins. Never ever happened. And that's currently ongoing. Doesn't excuse Man United's poor home record. It doesn't. But people were more fixated on Ollie saying that the Stretford end would have sucked a few more balls over the line and made us win. Everyone knows that happens at Old Trafford. The Stretford end is amazing. The Ollie haters were more focused on that than they were the fact that he brilliantly and articulately defended Mason Greenwood and Paul Pogba. So do you think that's right? I want you to give us a call right now. Are people attacking Bruno Fernandes because they want Ollie out? Is that the reason? Yusuf's on the line with us now. Yusuf, what you saying, mate?
Hey, what's up? I just wanted to talk about a couple of points for Ollie. So the first thing, have you seen the polls that they've done about the most hated player in the Premier League?
No. Who's done these polls?
BBC, I think.
Yeah, I haven't seen them, no.
I'm pretty sure Bruno Fernandes was the most hated player in the Premier League. And that's a good thing. That's what we want as United fans. We want rivals to hate our players because they're good, because they know that those players can change games in a split second. They hate Bruno because his numbers are insane. They think he's too good for us. And that's what we want. We want them to, whenever they play against us, they're like, oh, Bruno, this guy, United weren't playing good and he won them the game and whatever. Bruno is the best signing we've done since Robin van Persie. There's no question about it.
And I
But
understand
that's
that.
not the only
And
thing.
I understand that,
Yeah.
Yusuf. Let me ask you the question that was brought up by Nelson earlier on. Do you think there's a lot of United fans who attack Bruno Fernandes, gives the ball away too much, which is true. Well, let me rephrase that. He gives the ball away a lot, which is true, but no more so than any other highly creative and highly influential player in that position. Do you think they're going after him because it's a means to an end? They look at him as, Bruno Fernandes' performance and impact since coming here is the only reason that they have to endure Ollie.
I think there's something in that, and I think sometimes our fans they look at rivals, and the rivals usually say, "Oh, Bruno isn't good. He didn't do well this game." Although he would have been scoring like 2 goals and gave like 2 assists in that game, they'd still say he wasn't playing good. It's just agenda. They don't want United to be back to where they're supposed to be. So our fans need to think on their own. They shouldn't hear what other people say. Think about it. What does Bruno do on a game basis? Even that game when we played against West Brom, a lot of people think that's our worst game. I think it's a positive game because we usually lose these games. We've created chances in that game, but we haven't finished them. But we still won. That's what we want. We want to be able to scrap the wins. When Spurs did it, everyone took it as a positive. When we did it, everyone's like, United's done. This is not acceptable. This is what we need to do. We need to win those scrappy games for us to be able to contend in the future. This is a mentality thing where you gotta be always on top, even when you're playing badly. So that's all I think.
Mate, and I understand, and I understand that completely. Yusuf, thank you very much for your call, my friend. Thank you. Really good points being made. That I want to hear from more of you. The Skype lines are open. Search Football Terrace FC on Skype. Give us a call. I still want to speak Martial. I still want to speak Upamecano, but the point made earlier by Nelson on Bruno, I just think the nail's been hit on the head there. I've been racking my brains for weeks, not being able to really understand why there is so much negativity from Man United fans towards him. And that's the big key thing. From Man United fans towards him, there's so much animosity. There's so much just bile that doesn't need to exist. Let's do some of your comments here. Bert here in the live chat says, Ollie Outers and Pogba fanboys are spreading Bruno agenda because it suits their narrative. Another member here, Jose Mourinho, that's his name, that's his username, says, Terry, come on. Other teams get the job done with no fans. Jose Mourinho, so you're not listening. Ollie, I love you, bro. You're a member. I have to speak it as I find it. Ollie's not excusing things. This is what happens with Ollie. When Ollie protects his players or his club by saying something like, look, he knows the home form's bad. If he comes out, I like the fact that he doesn't come out and say, it's terrible. The players have got to do better. We've got to do better. And he's negative. He's upbeat about he's kind of the areas that need development. He's upbeat about. He'll say things like, it isn't good enough. We know we need to improve. It's a shame the fans are not here. They'd have really helped us. But we're going to move forward. It's going to be okay. I like that positive feel. I like the fact that he's diplomatic and political in the way he answers these questions, other than being kind of overly forthright, because the way articles will be generated, he could say something positive and the media will still twist it into a negative. If he said something like, listen, if we had our shooting boots on a little bit more, we'd be in a better position. And it would be, Ollie attacks Anthony Martial. That is how, and then the same people hating on his positive comments be like, how dare he go after my player in public? So he just keeps it very, very simplistic. Yes, you're right. Other teams have done better jobs than Man United at home this season with no fans. I'm not denying that. But the facts remain. This is the first time in top flight football history in England that after the first 9 games, there's been more away wins than home wins. It tells you that home form has been poor. Ours has been excessively poor. There is no doubt about it. Equally, our away form has been absolutely out of this world. But again, Ollie Outers, and I don't put myself in their category because they're a mob and they're a little bit poisonous, they're a little bit thuggish. They don't want to recognize any of this. But we're talking Bruno Fernandes here. Is he getting all this attention because people see him as the reason that Ollie remains at the club? We've got Z on the line. Z, what you saying, bro?
I'm good, brother. How are you this morning?
Yeah, I'm well, mate. I'm well, thank you.
Good. So what are you doing? Bruno, Upamecano,
No, I'd like,
Martial?
first of all, give me your thoughts on this Bruno thing. In terms of, do you think people are going at him because they see him as you say, the savior of Ollie, and that rattles them?
Yeah, like I said, you know, I always say when you're a United player, you're going to get scrutiny from the rivals. I have no rivals who are afraid to admit Ronaldo is the best player in the world because for the simple fact that he played for United.
Yeah.
So it's what's to be expected. To be honest, do I think Bruno's the greatest footballer on the eye? No, he isn't. And this is what I said to someone the other day, right? I work in sales, so Pogba, right? And you work in the sales environment. So you see Pogba. Pogba's the guy that comes in on a high salary. When you come in on a high salary, you're expected to hit the ground running, bang, get no sales out. Bruno, for me, was seen as the guy that just came in as just a normal recruitment consultant, and after rose up to hitting the heights of a senior. We know his capabilities aren't as great as Pogba's. His attributes ain't as great as Pogba's, but he's hit those standards, and that's why us United fans are happy with him. We know deep down that he is not better than Pogba. We know deep down that he's not better than Van der Beek, but it's just what he's going out there to achieve. And I think that's some of the things that people get confused and think us United fans are automatically saying, "Oh, he's the best." No, statistically, he's the best for what he's produced, but on the eye, he's not the best. And that's what people just need to understand. But if someone's giving us 3 points, we're not going to complain. How many sloppy players have played in the past and managed to grind teams out 3 points? They never complained.
Yeah, look, I think on Van der Beek, we want to see him play a little bit more. I don't think Man United fans would argue with that. The Pogba situation is so interesting because technically, as a football player and on ability, no doubt, Paul Pogba is a better football player than Bruno Fernandes. But that's where it becomes embarrassing for Paul Pogba because in an attacking sense, Bruno outperformed you. And I know people say things, the irony, bruv. Yeah, but it's penalties. These same Pogba fanboys, when Pogba scored 16 goals in a season, defended the fact that quite a few of them were penalties. I absolutely, the irony in it is absolutely amazing. It stinks like morning breath, bruv. Like morning breath mixed with coffee. Do you get what I mean? Remember that teacher that had that bad coffee morning breath? That is what Paul Pogba's fanboys sound like when I feel like that's what their breath must smell like. Do you know what I'm saying? Because like they just hypocrisize themselves. And equally, this giving the ball away. I heard a massive Pogba fanboy the other day say, well, Bruno loses it in attacking positions 25 times a game on average. It's too much. Paul Pogba this season, in a deeper role where it's far more important to retain possession, has lost the ball on average 20 times per game. So, you know, you sit there, you know, but that's my point here. This is where outputs become very, very important and not just goals and assists. I expect Paul Pogba to deliver more than Bruno Fernandes. Why? Because he's a better football player. And I'm talking overall for the team. And he simply doesn't. And that's why, and I know that's why it rattles people. And for me, of course, I want the best technically gifted and the players with the most ability at Man United to perform the best and be the best. I want them to achieve everything. But if somebody comes in at a fraction of the price with less ability, but they're delivering, I'm going to love them for it. Why? Because they're delivering for my team. And for me, beyond my own narcissism and my own subjectivity towards particular players, everyone knows I'm a big fan of Rashford. But if we went and signed Jadon Sancho next week, or we went and signed Traore from Wolves, and they came in and they kept Rashford out of the team and they outperformed and they made us a better football team, you wouldn't see me gripe or moan or cry, because my sole objective is for Man United to improve. And on Bruno Fernandes, if you look at I did it like for like. If you look at the 34 games that Man United played before he arrived, our win percentage was 34%. If you look at the 34 games he's played for us, the win percentage is 65%. He almost doubled the amount of games that we win. So for me, I can't have anything but love for a person who has been a huge catalyst in that being achieved.
But one fact I also say in Pogba's defense is that we've got to look at the end of last season. Not last season. The end of when Oli came in. Pogba was playing the same role. You have to give Pogba the freedom, and that comes from the coaching as well. I think with Pogba, I think a lot of people get confused. Like, in my opinion, personally, I just like to see Pogba do more because I know he has the potential to do more. I like to see the fight. I like to see the hunger. The same thing I saw with players like Ander Herrera, and that's been the Man United style. You know, the hunger, and that then takes me on to my point about Martial. Because how long have we been sitting here talking about this boy's potential? This guy has been under Van Gaal, has been under Mourinho and Solskjaer. How long are we going to be talking about this guy's potential? And me personally, I know this is what I keep saying to people, right? Ability can only get you so far unless you're Messi. I personally think we've seen how many people waste their ability. Balotelli was branded when he first came on the scene, ability-wise, to be one of the best players around. And after his mentality, what was it? Martial, I saw Cavani stop him during the match on the weekend and guiding him that you can make actual runs. And his attitude and his response to that was disgusting for a Man United footballer, for someone that is younger than someone who's achieved so much in the game. His attitude, for me, I've always said I wanted Martial out because of his attitude. His body language don't show me anything. It shows me a lot of arrogance. I know it all, and you know what? No one can teach me anything. I can do what all of these people. I probably do it in training. I run circles around these people. So do the under 21s, but they're still keen to learn.
Very interesting what you say there. See, I'm a big fan of Anthony Martial, but I hear where you're coming from. I remember having this conversation with Have Hope in the Fan Park Live studio, and I stand by it. We were watching a game, and Gary Neville was commentating, and he came out of a really good point, Gary Neville, that his biggest issue with Anthony Martial is he's running. And the first interpretation of Have Hope and many, many other people on social media was, he isn't the kind, he doesn't have to track back to be a good attacking player. And I kind of chuckled to myself, and then I laughed quite loudly out loud. And they looked at me like, what are you laughing at? So Gary Neville isn't talking, listen to what he said. He isn't talking about even pressing, let alone tracking back. He's talking about progressive running. He's talking about when a central midfielder has the ball between the halfway line and the box. Is he making darting diagonal runs to pull defenders or to cut defenses? Is he sometimes making what I call sacrificial runs, where you're putting yourself into a position where you're probably not going to be able to score from, but you're dragging a defender out of the way? He doesn't do that enough for me. He's done it and the most frustrating bit with Martial, when he's absolutely on fire, he's doing that on a regular basis. He just doesn't always do it. And the problem I have in life with anybody that does it one week and doesn't do it the next, it feels like it becomes a conscious choice. And it's why, again, I always go back to the corporate world because it's a mindset thing. It's why in the UK, it's very difficult if somebody's underperforming to just sack them for it. They're protected by law. However, if you take somebody through a complete process where you put them on like a performance improvement plan, and you're giving them weekly one-to-ones, and you're asking them, tell me all the support that you need, and you're giving them all that support, and you're coaching them, and you're putting every ounce of effort into making them better. If they go for a 3-month period where they improve their performance and they demonstrate that they can deliver to the standards you need, and then they come off the performance improvement plan and then almost instantly go back to underperforming again, you can theoretically go straight to written or final written warnings, because that protocol shows that, well, actually, when you were being monitored and when you were being pushed, you had the capabilities of doing it. As soon as, you've now made a conscious choice to not do it again because you've proven to us for 3 months that you can perform at that level. Does that make sense? And I think with Martial, that's kind of something that's standing out massively to me right now, is that when he wants it, he can do it. When he doesn't, it isn't quite there. And maybe he's just going through a bad patch at the moment. And I'm not prepared to sell him if I was in charge. what I do think should happen, and I think it should be done in a very sensible way. I would turn around to Cavani right now if I was Ollie and say, look, you're going to get 4 or 5 games on the bounce, the important games on the bounce. You're going to play no matter what, no matter whether you're good or bad either, you're going to play those games. I think that Cavani needs that so he can relax in those matches and know that.
Do you believe Martial will respond well to that? Does he, from what you've seen of him? Do you
no,
believe
I don't. And I agree with you. I don't think he'll respond well to that, by the way. I don't think Martial will. And that's always been my biggest issue with him. And that was going to be my final point. When I think Martial becomes disinterested is when he has competition. When somebody's fighting for his position on the field of play, I don't think he likes it. To call him a fair weather player is maybe a little bit harsh, but when the Zlatan thing happened, look, the shirt number being taken for me was bad. But do you know the kind of attitude I like in a human being? Someone who's like, I'm going to prove you wrong, and goes out there. I've had it before at work. I haven't been given promotions, haven't been given jobs I wanted. What did I go and do? Did I sulk and cry and spend the whole time moaning about how I'd be better than that person? Or did I go and get on with my job and prove that I'm better than that person? That's what I want to see from Martial. If Martial gets dropped for Cavani, I want to see him when he comes on. I want to see the running. I want to see the work rate. I want to see the deliverance. I want to see him turn around in a professional manner and go, Ollie, man, you're a fool for drop. Not actually call him a fool, because that's what thugs and idiots do, but be like, listen, you idiot for dropping me. Put me back in that team. That's what I want. However, what I think we'll get is his confidence damaged, and I think we'll get him shy away. And maybe, just maybe, we need somebody with his technical ability, but with more minerals.
Yeah, I totally agree, mate. I just personally think with the Zlatan thing, good point that you brought that up. Me personally, I personally think that when you're a footballer and someone comes in the door, if Ronaldo comes in tomorrow, right, and demands at number 7, Cavani's not going to say no. This is your number. You own this shirt. Do you get what I mean? There's certain players that walk in the room. I didn't agree with it, but I just personally think there's different ways of responding, and he hasn't shown me anything of any sort of way that makes me believe that this guy deserves to be here, along with so many other players, along with the Luke Shaws, along with a lot of these players. That this is what I keep saying is, right, when people talk about Ollie being the fault of Martial not playing good or Rashford not playing good, some people need to take into consideration that some of these players have played with 3 different coaches. Van Gaal, one of the best tacticians ever, right? He's renowned for it. Mourinho, he's got a system that he sticks with, that he came in the game with, and he's forever sticking with. And some of these players couldn't prosper, right? And then you got Solskjaer, who is freestyle football. All right, cool. I'm letting you do what you want, and you still can't do nothing. You still can't produce. So what does that tell you about these players? Then this is what I mean. When we get new managers that want to come in, they're going to want to get rid of these players, because the simple fact that these players would not suit their philosophy. And that's why I like the news of like the Upamecanos coming in and so on. But what worries me is players that might come in and then after start adapting these bad habits that some of these players already have. You know, it's ridiculous.
Mate, I hear you on that, Z. And I think there's the point you make about players, we will look at failing or being under multiple managers is so true, and it gets ignored. And you know, you put Rashford into that. Look, Rashford's improving all the time. I mean, the man's got 8 goals and 3 assists so far this season, and I don't even think he's really got. He started well in the Champions League. I don't really think he's got ahead of steam yet. I would be really intrigued to see, and this is where it becomes very, very interesting. I want to see the reaction from the Ollie out mob, who tend to be people that are very supportive of Martial and Pogba. They seem to be people that are fairly disparaging towards Maguire and McTominay and Rashford as examples. They tend to be, when you read their tweets and you follow them. And I do, because I don't talk about people that I don't follow and listen to. Otherwise, I don't know what they're saying, right? I'm really intrigued. A lot of them want Poch. I will be really intrigued to see their reaction, because I honestly feel that Poch won't stand for some of the things you're talking about. I don't think Poch will care about the reputation of a player or the fan opinion on a player. It will be, I'm going to play who I want. And it'll be so interesting to see their thoughts when he puts his arm around McTominay and Maguire and Rashford and says, you're my guys, and keeps them, because I just think he will. I think people underestimate the value of hard work, perseverance, determination, and motivation. And those three I mentioned have it. Bruno Fernandes has it. You know what I love about Fred in the middle? Fred has it in abundance. AWB has it in abundance. These individuals, they may not be the best, but you can see that every game they're giving their all. And for the majority of managers and coaches,
wasn't the best.
Yeah, no, exactly. But these players, they endear themselves to managers, and managers fall in love with them because they're like, okay. And do you know why it's working so well right now for Jose Mourinho at Tottenham? Because every single player is saying, yes, boss, I'm going to play in your image. I'm going to go out there and perform in exactly the way you want me to. Do you want me to track back then? Yeah. You want me to go into whatever zone 3? Do you want me to go into zone 3 when we're out of possession? Okay. You want me to drop?
Let me say a point on that.
And it works amazingly. Go on, mate.
Yeah. So Mourinho, I said this to someone. Mourinho struggles with big clubs who already have players with personality. Right? When they've got players with personality, he struggles. But Mourinho, if you look at Porto, small club, right? Look at Chelsea, they hadn't really won anything before. And you look at Inter, they've been on a dead patch beforehand. So when you've got someone like Mourinho coming in and walking into the office, it's like, say, for example, the office has got this basic manager that's been there for a while. They get tired of him, right? They can carry their weight. They can banter with him and everything and so on, right? But say, for example, the guy from, and this is a sales office, the guy from Wolf of Wall Street walks in, they're gonna be like, oh God, I want to learn everything. I don't care. Like, I don't care if he was a crook. All right, cool. I don't care if he plays defensive football. I want to learn everything. And they're automatically in awe of him and they want to learn. And they're gonna sit down and listen. It's not no thing of he's bullying them or anything, but they just want to sit down and listen, and they're going to register because Spurs haven't won anything. Do you understand? They haven't won anything, and he's got players that fit his persona, his personality, and players that actually are hungry.
And do you know,
they won, they're hungry.
And on top of that, Z, do you know what also happens? Although towards the end, Daniel Levy got it wrong. He took power away from Poch, and I think that kind of it was beginning. It fed into the undoing. In the years that Poch was successful, and I'm talking success in relative terms from where Tottenham were when he joined, Poch had complete power. You know when he sat Toby Alderweireld in the stands because he wouldn't sign a new deal. You know when he sat Danny Rose in the stands because he wouldn't sign the new deal. These two at that point were regarded as one of the best left backs and one of the best centre backs in the league. If at any point in the last 8 years, a Man United manager took two of our best players and stuck them in the stands for whatever reason, one, our fan base wouldn't stand for it. They'd be kicking off and crying. But the board wouldn't allow that power to ensue. And I think Daniel Levy has learned from Man United's mistakes. I think he's learned, look at it. Daniel Levy's a shrewd man. He'll learn from his own mistakes as well. He'll look at it and be like, you know what? Look at the history of Jose. The two clubs that have continually given him exactly what he wants, he went on to achieve groundbreaking results with Porto and Inter. If you look at what he did at Tottenham in the first 2 seasons, killed it. If you look at what he did at Tottenham and Chelsea first 2 seasons, he killed it. Look at what he did at Chelsea in his first couple of seasons when he returned, killed it in the end. At Man United in the first year, where he was given what he wanted for the whole season, 1-2 trophies, got us back into the Champions League. Halfway through the second season, where we finished second, is where they started to remove power from him. Look at Chelsea in the start of his third season. They started to remove power from him, signing players he didn't want. Same thing at Real Madrid. It's just, for me, it's as clear as the nose on the end of my face. It truly, truly is that if you want Jose to be successful, you give him what he wants. And I disagreed with Jose's from a technical point of view for wanting to get rid of Pogba and Martial. But if we would have got rid of Martial and Pogba and given him full power to say, this is what's happening at the club, I'm the boss, I think we'd see a Man United team right now challenging for titles. Whether it's in the image of football you want or not, it would have happened. But Woodward and the board set a precedent by saying, no, we're not letting you do what you want. We're going to keep these players here. And I'm not saying these players are viruses. I'm not saying they're bad people. But when you set that precedent that the players have more control and power than a manager, it becomes very, very difficult to remove that. And Tottenham, I guarantee you, they know right now, if Harry Kane says no to Jose, Jose's got the power to get rid of him. And because Levy backs him, the players can't do anything about it. You can't throw a manager under the bus who's got more power than you. And that's the difference. You can't do it. You know, managers that are in complete control can't have players throw them under a bus because they know the board are going to say, well, 5 of you can kick off and try and throw them under the bus. We'll get rid of all of you in the end. Do you really want to leave? And that's when it comes down to it, bro. We've all been at work where people like in the staff room are like, yeah, man, I've got your back. And when it comes down to it, are you going to stand up for me to the boss's face? No. Do you know why? But if the boss isn't in control, if the boss is weak, or if the boss is somebody above them undermining them, everybody jumps in. Even people that are not really on your side, like, I'm going to do it as well. Why? Because there's something in it for me. It's beneficial for me. I get a bit more control. I get more power. There's not as much responsibility laid on me. That's how I see all these things, bro. And that's where Man United have gone wrong over the years. And again, look at the clubs that are successful and look at the clubs that are not. And do you know what? Chelsea's always the one where they go, yeah, but Chelsea have had player power problems. They've been successful. Chelsea's player power, in my opinion, has stopped them from being the most successful team of the last 15 years in football because it's going well. If I just think about how things went with Jose, how things went with Ancelotti, if they hadn't have thrown these managers under buses as easily as they did, I think they would have won even more than they have done. But you have noticed that the winning margins over the years have slowed down as other big teams with big money have got their house in order and created more sustainable models. The most successful teams and the best footballing teams of the last 5 years have got the best models. And then if you look at that on relative terms, it's important as well. So if you look at teams like Brighton, look at teams like Southampton, look at teams like Wolves and Leicester, their success isn't as high as a Chelsea or a Man United. Well, Leicester's maybe because they won a league. Not as high. They haven't won as many trophies as an example. But on relative terms, their clubs have been more successful in the last 5, 6, 7 years. Why? Because they're run perfectly. The managers have got a lot of control and power. And when it starts to go wrong or they don't want the manager there anymore, they act pretty damn quickly and they move them on. Maybe not as quickly as the fans want, but they move on. They bring somebody else in because right now, Brendan Rodgers has got complete control. Right now, I forgot the guy's name. Ralph. Look at Ralph Hasenhuttl at Southampton. That man got beat. What was it, like 31-0?
9-0
in the league, and the club backed him. The club didn't allow any shenanigans. They went, we're backing him still. Yeah, it was an anomaly. Let's get behind him and look what they're doing now. And that doesn't happen when you allow your players to be like, I ain't playing for this guy. He doesn't know what he's doing. It's like, no, he knows what he's doing. He had a bad day in the office, a very bad day in the office, but we're getting behind him. And if any of you step out of line and start to not, we'll know if you're not trying hard. And by the way, we all know when a player isn't giving their all. If you're not trying hard, it's you that's going to go. And it's you that's going to go, and it's your reputation that's going to be damaged within the industry. All right, I'm going to play. And that's what Man United need to set. And until we get back to behaving in that way, honest to God, we're not getting back to the top. But when your owners don't care about you being the best football team in England, why would they care about the small, intricate details that step you up from where we are now to that next level? And it's fine, small twerks at Man United. There's no doubt about it in my mind whatsoever. Going to add Yusuf to this call as well. Keep Z on the line. We've gone to member chat only. If you want to get your chats in, make sure you can sign up now by clicking the join button. I know I said at the beginning as well, we're gonna give away some competitions. I didn't realize that comment sections weren't available when live streams are on. I don't know how I didn't know that. When this stream finishes, go to the comment section below, write yes or no to whether you think Upamecano is going to join Manchester United, and then leave us the country of which you're watching from, please, in the comment section below when this is done. Make sure you're smashing that like button. Yusuf is on the line here. Yusuf, what are you saying, mate?
Hey, what's up? I just wanted to bring up a point about why I think the board didn't allow Mourinho to sell Martial and Pogba. Now, I've been doing some research about what Ollie's been doing, and when he came in, 11 out of our 26 players have been over 28. And we knew that Mourinho doesn't like Rashford or Martial. He wanted to get in Perisic, which is also a person above 28. So that's one thing that got me very worried when Mourinho was here. He was choosing very old players. The longevity wasn't more than 3-4 years.
Right.
He wasn't promoting any youth players.
McTominay
McTominay was his only player. And when did he play McTominay? Because he didn't like Fred, and he signed Fred.
I don't agree with the whole Mourinho don't like youngsters, because he's proven to have promoted a few youngsters. Just because he don't promote them in abundance, don't mean he don't promote youngsters. Mourinho's a manager that's all about mentality. And it's a shame that a majority of these youngsters that are playing football right now in this day and age do not have that winner's mentality, because they got too much power, because they got such a huge social media influence, and they think that they've made they're the bollocks already, because of the simple fact of the matter is they're playing professional football. They haven't got that mentality or that willingness to carry on to learn. That's what it is. If we're gonna be fair, look at the difference between a Grealish and someone that's probably playing at someone similar age to him that's probably playing at Brighton. I can't think of a player off the top of my head. It's a simple fact that one player wants to continue to progress, be hungry for it, and always fight with his, when Grealish wasn't getting selected for England, did you see him throw his toys at his pram? No, he carried on week in, week out, playing in the Premier League.
Yeah, I think you're right on that. And do you know what I say as well about Jose, one of those old players and stuff? Why would we be expecting anything different? You don't employ Jose Mourinho and say, Jose, bro, I'm going to give you this job, mate. But you know those 4 or 5 elements of your methodology, of your ideology, of your philosophy that have made you one of the most successful managers in the history of the game? Yeah. Can you drop them, please? Can you not do them here? we want you to do more youth, more open, flamboyant football, less grumpy moods, less siege mentality, retete. No pragmatism, sir. It's an absolute outrage and an insult. My only criticism of Jose towards the end was the way he behaved on a professional basis. I thought it was a disgrace. Go back. I moaned at some performances that were bad. I'm allowed to do that. But I was completely at ease with how he was going to play football. I was completely at ease on the fact that he may not want to have 5 players in his starting lineup that are under the age of 22, because that isn't what he does. But when you employ a Jose Mourinho, that is what you get. If I employed, if I owned a restaurant and I'm bringing in Gordon Ramsay, am I going to expect him not to swear at anyone? Do you get what I'm saying here? If you know what I mean? If I go to an audition and Simon Cowell's judging me, am I? Oh, I hope he's nice to me today. No, you're expecting it. If you're bad, the man's going to be quite brutal with you. Certain people, successful people, have strong characteristics, ideologies. If you employ a Jose Mourinho, let's just say we employ Diego Simeone next week. If any bellend, any Man United fan, any bellend, any prat thinks, he won't play pragmatically here, he'll adopt to the Man United sort of philosophy. What do you mean what you want? Yeah, he'll do what I want. No, he won't. He will come in and be who he is, which is why I've said before, what Man United need to do if you don't want a Jose Mourinho is create a club ethos and go back to it, where we have a certain age demographic and a certain style of play, certain type of player that comes in both attributes-wise and mentality, and a mixture of the two, and you hire coaches. You hire coaches that come in and coach those players to go out and play a system of football that fits within what you want, that fits within the ballpark of what you're trying to create. That way, you can go through a conveyor belt of managers with relative ease, because the club's process and system doesn't change. Equally, if you want to go through manager to manager, you've got to be happy to have a complete shift in ideology and philosophy. But for that to work, the manager's got to be given 4 or 5 years, because you're unearthing everything that was there before. Basically, Man United have tried to create a hybrid of that, and it's an absolute clusterfuck. You can't do it in 18 months. You can't go from a Jose system to a Pep Guardiola system in 18 months and be the best team around. Not after 8 years of it being in turmoil. It takes time for this to work. And I get people say, "Oh, you should be able to see the football be better straight away." Rare. Yeah, maybe you can, maybe you will. But with the club going to and froing all the time, it never works. And I've seen it before, again, in my professional life, where every 12 to 18, I worked for a company once where every 12 to 18 months, the process is changed. So every time there was a new process change, again, the workers, i.e. the footballers in this case, half the people weren't bought into it because they were like, oh, listen, I'm not disrespecting the new area director that's come in, but they told us the new system last time was going to rejuvenate us. And 12 months later, you're making us change our processes again. No one buys into it when there's consistent change. And that's where Man United got wrong. So listen, I understand your points that you don't like those things. But if you employ a Jose Mourinho, that's how you've got to operate.
Yeah, definitely. I get that. But what I'm saying is Mourinho was playing a dangerous game for us in like 2-3 years. If Mourinho stayed for 2-3 years, that would mean that 11 out of his players he would have sold or replaced.
But
you can't replace 11 players.
Bro,
in
that's
2
not
years.
on Jose Mourinho, though. That's not down to Jose. That's Jose. We either re-sign Jose at that point because he's been successful, or we move him on. If you bring him in, you know who he is, what he is, and where you're going to be at the end of that. He isn't historically doesn't set teams up for 10 years of longevity. So if you employ him, you expect that. And the fact that we still hate on Jose for being Jose rather than going, well, who put him in charge? Do you know what I mean? Like,
Exactly.
I get that.
It's crazy.
A lot of people choose to ignore that. A lot of people choose to ignore the simple fact of the matter is the board, because at the end of the day, right? If your house is dirty, who's that down to? Is it the dirt? Is it the house? No, it's down to you because you're responsible for keeping your house in order. It don't matter if you get a maid, you employ that maid. She's in your house is still dirty. You're responsible. So it's not that maid's fault. You hire that maid so you can take control of it. If that maid's not cleaning your house to your standards, you go get yourself another maid. You have to have structure. And that's what it's down to. It's exactly what Terry said. It's down to the board. And everyone that keeps saying all this Ollie out or this is what Mourinho, I didn't want Mourinho. I personally don't want Mourinho because I knew what it would do for United. I knew Mourinho would be successful, and he's been our most successful coach since post Fergie till date. But however, I knew what it would do because I know our players got a weak mentality. You know, you've got players there that have got a weak mentality, i.e. the Martial, i.e. the Pogbas. And I get what you mean, Yusuf, but like I said, a lot of United fans come up with their points because of what rivals say to them. A lot of United fans come up with what rivals say to them in a group chat or on Twitter, and then want to echo it without actually thinking about the point that they're saying.
May I interject?
Go for it.
Yeah.
Can anyone hear me?
Yeah, go for it, bro.
Yeah, so I think that the problem with United is, and I've said this before, I agree with Terry in one sense, that is the board. But I also think the weak mentality has been furthered by Ollie giving into these players' demands, like, giving Martial, quote unquote, his number 9 back. I mean, he wears number 11 for France. He's worn number 19 for France. And I also agree with something Terry said the other day about Spurs. They would have won in 2016 had Mourinho been their manager, which also makes me say, I don't think Ollie's the right choice by far, but Pochettino isn't either, because at the end of the day, he's known for bottling. Which brings me to who I do think is the right choice, and particularly if the rumours of Woodward leaving are true, is Allegri. He is to Pogba what Ferguson was to Cantona, what Wenger was to Henry. And he's a man who, contrary to popular belief, plays attacking football, but knows how to defend when needed. Something Ferguson is famed for. If you look at his history against teams like Barcelona, when we won the Champions League. And I also think that Allegri, given that he stood up to people like Silvio Berlusconi, and although he got fired from that job, you don't get a job with Italy's richest family, the Agnellis, if you've got nothing about you. And the fact is, Real Madrid tried to poach him in 2018. Abramovich has tried to appoint him twice. I think this is worse than missing out on Klopp.
Do you know what's thank you for the call, mate. You're still on the air. What I would say about Allegri is this: I don't watch Italian football. I know about him, what I've read about him, and I haven't sat there and read as much as you. Clearly, I did a video though a few weeks ago looking at the options if we were to sack and remove Ollie.
Mhm.
There isn't a choice, barring Allegri, of an actual successful winner. There isn't anybody that's readily available. I mean, we could go to a club where someone is winning and try and take them, but right now the only kind of yeah, I mean, people the three names that really come up are Allegri, Poch, Nagelsmann. They're the three that are really thrown around, and two of them I heard Ralph Hasenhüttl mentioned as well. And again, none of those other three, barring Allegri, have actually been successful to the point that United would consider to be success, winning major trophies. Nagelsmann's got this potential amazing future, the same as Poch, but it's all potential. With Allegri, he has won something. And sorry?
Ollie did Nagelsmann tactically, and I think Ollie's a horrible tactician.
Yeah, well, but look, listen, I get that. And he did. But then that's what I'm saying. Nagelsmann's younger than me, bruv. Like, he's really young in a game that's based on experience. And I'm not saying that he can't reach those levels, but that's my point. I like Nagelsmann, but I'm also prepared to give him 5 years in the job because I think he'll need that. My fear of bringing in Poch and my fear of bringing in Nagelsmann is they're not going to be ready straight away. They've still got room for development to know what it's like to actually get major trophies over the line. Allegri is different. Allegri's got that capability of doing it. The issue we have with an Allegri is how long do the board give him? I don't know if they give him long enough. I don't know if they give any of these managers long enough. And it's just crazy. The irony is this: a lot of the Ollie outers, the Ollie out mob, say Ollie's only in the job because he's a yes man. He's only lasted this long because he's a yes man. Yet you want someone who's not a yes man. How long are they going to last, bruv? You calling Ollie a yes man. One sec, you calling Ollie a yes man and saying that that's the only reason he survives because the Glazers want a puppet, but you don't think the Glazers are the biggest problem at the club. How does that even make sense? It's one of the most oxymoronic comments I've heard in my life.
Woodward is the biggest problem, not the Glazers, in my opinion.
Yeah,
the reason being,
either way.
And he's incompetent at everything.
And I hear that.
I want to give something to Mourinho. I want to give some points that Mourinho deserves respect for. Because I was looking at the squad once Mourinho left, and we had very obvious issues. We had too many centre backs that weren't good enough, too many right backs that weren't good enough.
And what was Mourinho crying for? What was Mourinho asking for?
I'm giving him credit for this thing. Too many defensive-minded midfielders, too many left wingers, not one right winger. Too little creativity in the team. So what is he supposed to do with a team that's like this? It's literally obvious what the squad was lacking, and he got none of it.
Do you know what's amazing about it as well? I love how people use the centre-back thing as a stick to punish him with, because they say, but he bought 2 centre-backs. Why did he need a third? And I'm like, bro, he's 3rd, 4th, and 5th choice centre-backs were Phil Jones, Rojo, and Smalling. And you know the irony, the next manager comes in and we allow him to buy another centre-back. So, and keep the 2 that Jose bought. And in fact, the 2 that Jose bought are primarily number 1, number 2, and number 3. So Ollie has been given what Jose was rejected.
But
it's just mad. It's mad.
Do you believe that Maguire, when Ollie discovered the price tag, it was his prime target? Or do you believe when he saw that price tag, he would have thought, let's go for Koulibaly instead? Even though I like Maguire.
No, I don't know. I don't know, because we're never going to be privy to that information, and Ollie will never say it until years later. Ollie can't say that publicly because we know. Imagine Ollie come out and went, listen, they want too much from Maguire. We think there's better value elsewhere. And then the next day the club announce it. He'd be up shit's creek without a paddle. But I hear you. But
didn't Mourinho want Maguire the summer before, and he was for 60 million?
Yes,
I'm pretty sure that happened.
Yes,
yeah, everyone did.
And that's the thing with it. It's just it's again, but it's the revisionism from fans to make managers now look worse, or managers then look worse, or whatever it may be. The club could have had Maguire through the door a year earlier for sort of 15 to 20 million pound less. and they chose not to do it because they were falling out with Jose Mourinho and ended up playing. Well, it continually happens. But again, it's never the club's fault. It's never Woodward's fault. It's always the manager. And can you imagine if we do bring in the new coach everyone's happy with, Poch or Nagelsmann or Allegri, whoever it is, right? And then they end up selling the players that Jose wanted rid of 3 years ago. Do you know how embarrassing that will be?
Quick one, Terry. I'll say this, right? Someone said to me the other day, and I never thought of it. I said, what if Woodward is actually in contact with Poch and just wait for the right time? What if he's in contact with Poch and actually going for Poch's targets? Hence, and then afterwards, because Van der Beek was not an Ollie target, we all know he wanted Grealish for that position. And then afterwards, you look at the Palestri kid, Uruguayan. You know, these are things that
Mate, bro. But we are ending the stream. But I'll end by saying this is exactly what I was talking about the other day. Even the Cavani signing could almost be a makeshift Harry Kane-esque player for a year or two until maybe they try and get Haaland or something. I wouldn't be surprised. That's how the man operates. There's no doubt about it. Thank you, by the way, to Mr. Singh for becoming an Academy member of the Football Terrace. Also, he put a super chat in here that says, youngsters don't win titles. How many youngsters were in City, Liverpool, United, and Chelsea and Arsenal's title-winning sides? It's only a handful. You're generally right. That makes sense. Mark here says, have to self-isolate for a day. Got too close to the RE teacher who is suspected corona. Okay. Bored already, mind you. Phil Jones has been isolating for seasons. Mark Hanley, thank you very much for the super chat, my friend. Everyone who's tuned in this morning, thank you. We're back later on today. We've got another tiering show we're doing later. I'm not decided what we're doing yet. It's going to be late afternoon. And then this evening, of course, covering Man United versus Istanbul. Make sure you're tuning in. Hit that like button right now, people. And as soon as we finish the stream, come back. I want you to leave your comments below to enter the competition. Yes or no as to whether you think Upamecano is going to join Manchester United, and tell us the name of the country from. There's over 600 of you watching, so I expect over 600 comments pretty much straight away once this video is done. Make sure you're hitting that like button as well. Until then, take care. Goodbye. God bless. And we'll see you all again very, very soon.
Keep up the good work, Terry. You're doing well.